Okay, I'm going to introduce you to sky dancing by reading an excerpt. Um, this is where Mina is the person that, it's her troupe that brought aboard Angel. And so she's going to take him to see sky dancing for the first time and see what it's all about. He's been in captivity for about 3 days now. Okay, here we go. And the questions would have continued for days had she not commanded him to stop. She decided while she led him to their shabby tent. She also knew more would follow. She glanced at him affectionately. 3 days, and the boy had already gotten under her skin. This did not bode well for her emotions should he not survive the mind meld chip, let alone if he reacted negatively once he watched this troop practice. Again, I apologize for my reading. It's kind of sucky, but I'll keep going. Um, no, not Trask. I think I shall have Dag mentor you, she told Angel, thinking in a more positive vein. He is the most patient of us all. As they approached the tent's entrance, Angel grew quiet, wondering just what sky dancing looked like. The tent reminded him of a circus. The circus reminded him of trapeze artists. But when Mina lifted the heavy canvas flap and ushered him in, his eyes adjusted to accommodate the interior gloom. He was stunned by what he saw. The last circus tent he had been in on Earth was the traveling three-ring variety. This one was more like a one-ring, with no room for an audience. Its interior reminded him of giant dunce camp and he grinned at the image. But his grin changed to astonishment when he saw what the troupe was doing. The earthen floor of the practice ring was scattered with what looked like tiny trampolines, not more than 6 inches across, arrayed in apparently random placements. The troupe used them as launching pads. They were hurling their bodies into the air, doing twists, tucks, and flips, very similar to some of the gymnastic floor routines he had learned. But the similarity ended there, because not only were they doing twists, tucks, that's hard to say, it's better to read it, twists, tucks, and flips, but also pushing and lifting the others to even greater heights using angles and gravity and momentum. One would jump, twirling into the air, making contact with an already twirling torso who was, let me start over again. One would jump, twirling into the air, making contact with an already twirling torso, who was then pushed further into the air to connect with a third. As the first one began his descent, he was pushed by a fourth and kept in the air so he could perform more acrobatics. Angel stood, frozen, awed by their skill and timing, trying to figure out what he was seeing and how they were achieving their astonishing flights of acrobatics. It was as if they were juggling themselves, using the tiny trampolines as a juggler would use his hands. But the skill it required, he gasped when he thought of one of the performers was about to fall. You see, Mina said at his side, very little time for miscalculation. He glanced at her and then back to the troop, spellbound. How? He breathed. Mina was pleased with Angel's reaction. His tense muscles were bunched with energy as if he were preparing to take his turn. Breathing a sigh of relief, she silently thanked the bright shadows. She had chosen well. If Angel had shown any sign of fear, she would have been forced to sell him. The one with the blue hair is Ping. The stockier blonde is Blue, and she's working with Blade, the lanky one, who's also her roommate, she said. Angel noticed Blade looked much like Blue, only she was bony, all sharp angles with long legs. The only other woman is me. We fly the highest, and you men help us get up there. See the man over on the sidelines gesturing with the goatee? That's Shrim, the man you'll replace when you're ready. Angel glanced at Shrim with interest. Mina's voice had gone all soft. Now the two pushing off with the women are Dag and Trask. Dag's the slight, quick one, and Trask's the hairy one. Mina shook her head. I keep telling him to bind his hair back, but he's like a proud bird showing off his feathers whenever he can. A proud, horny bird, she chuckled. Come, let us see what my troop thinks of you. She sent a soft mental call to the group, just enough to gain their attention, but not enough to break their concentration. She knew they would wind down with the acrobatics when they came to an end of a stanza. Our routines are tightly choreographed, as any dance, she said while they crossed the few feet to the ring's edge. During a performance, we use a flute and a drum to keep the rhythm. Some dancer troupes use more music, but I prefer not to. Angel nodded as he watched them simultaneously pause in midair in order to simultaneously drop gracefully to the ground. I didn't tell you I'm a gymnast, he said, his eyes never leaving the ring. I have some skills, but he shook his head. Nothing like this. Not even close. Okay. Those are the sky dancers.